Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're talking about Xbox having some more layoffs. Now, I wanted to run through a quick timeline, but we'll do that at the end. But yeah, we're finding out that basically Double Fine and other studios are having these layoffs. And yeah, newer report reaffirms that Compulsion is basically being shut down, looking to go independent, and then also Ninja Theory and Double Fine are also looking to currently negotiate with Microsoft's gaming wing in an effort to prevent being closed. They want to basically buy themselves back and go independent again. And we see this kind of repeatedly across really big publishers, is that they'll swoop up with these small companies, have them make games, and then they don't sell, and then they look to go independent, but not all of them can. So yeah, some of them with just like Double Fine, like they made Keeper, which I played. It was fine. I mean, there was nothing necessarily wrong with the game. I just hated getting close to the top of the mountain and having to be shoved back down again by something happening in the story. And it didn't really feel like it was actually giving me a lot of good content there to really go through. It was just kind of making me play longer maybe than I should, with really no story there. And take a look at Ninja Theory. Well, they've also worked on other games too. They have really good like facial animation stuff, and like their whole studio. I'm sure it's very expensive, but they made Hellblade 2. It's supposed to be a super praised game, and it didn't even feel like a game. Because my biggest issue is, while it looked beautiful, I wasn't really doing anything for most of it. I was just kind of walking around. No, I couldn't finish it. I probably got about halfway through. I heard the ending was getting better. But gosh, the end game cannot wait to be a game. Now we have Senua, which is the third game in the saga that's coming. And as soon as that was announced during the Xbox showcase, well, now we hear that, yeah, basically they're being shut down. And again, these studios are not overly big, but yeah, your game has to sell. And, you know, looking looking at this game again, it's not really a game in my opinion. Had worse combat than number one. But yeah, this game roughly sold maybe like 50,000 sales, maybe 100,000 sales. This is not very good at all. Take a look at South of Midnight with Compulsion Games. Now, I have liked some of their games. Okay, Contrast was interesting, which is still on Game Pass. But they also made We Happy Few, which my wife and I actually enjoyed that one quite a bit. But it wasn't necessarily in the style that I enjoyed too much. But then we had South of Midnight, which I also played. And again, I did not finish because of some of the bugs, some of the graphical appearance of the game was not overly done super well. It looked kind of just smushed together. And again, the combat was not overly invigorating. So it was kind of more trying to tell you the story of the South with some of the history. And it was kind of more about her story, but it was, I don't know. And then, yeah, the stop kind of clay animation was kind of weird too for some of it, but not for everything. So that was kind of a mix. And so, yeah, main characters had very low frame rates while the rest of the game was at 60. And it was just kind of brutal to watch. The thing that's kind of insane is when we take a look at South of Midnight, the budget apparently exceeded $100 million, but only sold 50 million units. Outer Worlds 2 had a budget around 100 million, maybe a little less, and at least according to some articles. And then estimated sales was actually 1 million units. So that's crazy. Outer Worlds 2, looking at different planets, doing different quests, compared to a game like this that's over $100 million. And it was in the state that it was in. I mean, it wasn't anything special at all, in my opinion. It was okay. It was fine. It was interesting. There were some things, there were some bugs, there were some other graphical issues, but the story was fine. I mean, it was just fine, but $100 million? That's crazy. So when you take a look at kind of the dark timeline that Xbox Gaming has had, well, we'll go through this pretty quick. 2023, 343 Studios, now Halo Studios, was struck with some layoffs. In January 24, Microsoft accelerated its cuts, laying off 1,900 employees across its gaming division, followed by another 650 in September. The same year, they saw a closure of 3 Bethesda-acquired studios, which was Arcane Austin, Redfall. Horrible game, was not ready. I actually heard that they didn't want to make the game anymore. Microsoft, Xbox basically forced them, said, no, you're going to make it. And then as soon as the game was put out, then they were like, yeah, we're shutting you down. So they didn't want to play ball. So yeah, Xbox didn't want to keep them. Alpha Dog Games, most of us, myself included, don't even really remember what they did. Tango Gameworks, which made Hi-Fi Rush, ended up winning awards, maybe even Game of the Year. And then, yeah, they actually got bought by Krafton. and the Hi-Fi Rush IP as well. So Krafton, same that published Subnautica 2, they own Tango Gameworks now. So in July 2025, we had the initiative was shut down. Halo Studios now was also having layoffs. Turn 10 Studios was shut down, and like half the employees was merged with Forza Horizon Studio. ZeniMax Online Studios had layoffs. Rare had layoffs. I think their division for the pirate game was okay, but Everwild was canceled. And then also King, Raven Software, and Sledgehammer Games, all under Activision Blizzard, also had layoffs. So one thing I wanted to mention was that Toys for Bob was actually under Microsoft, and at one point too was also under Activision Blizzard. And well, they went independent pretty much had a good time. And they were a support studio for Call of Duty, but they didn't really want to work on building that. And so now we have a fourth Spyro game coming, and that actually has had some pretty good views on the channel. And so, yeah, I'm actually excited to play that too. And they just have a contract with Xbox now, but they are independent. And then also too, we had the Microsoft's full brace of AI and all this stuff. And yeah, that's been backing off some, at least under Xbox with Asha Sharma, which probably most of us appreciate. But I think the thing too that was kind of frustrating as well was that later we also had Contraband, which was being made by Avalanche Studios, where this was canceled. They had 4 years, didn't have too much to show. All we had was kind of a stills trailer for the announcement, and that was kind of it. And so, yeah, Avalanche, when the game was canceled, they ended up closing Liverpool Studios, who was actually working on the game. That affected 31 employees. And then they also reduced their workforce at Malmö and Stockholm Studios. And so, yeah, they got hurt by that as well a little bit. Also wanted to remind people is that also in 2025, Xbox basically severely hit their physical publishing arm. And so, yeah, there's certain games like Avowed that have never had a physical release. And that's why they laid off a whole bunch of people there. So there's still a few, okay? Forza Horizon 6 is a physical copy that exists, but not every game is going to get physical copies, and probably even more so going forward. So yeah, taking a look at Double Fine, taking a look at these games, it was fine. Like, these were fine, but again, they didn't sell well. And that's the name of the industry, is that you have to actually, make money back. And if you're not doing that, that sucks. And again, too, with some of these games, they're not overly big, they're not overly long, but again, they're in development for like 6 years, 7 years. It's like, for what? That's it? That's literally all you made? Like, Western studios are just getting embarrassed by Eastern studios most of the time. But yeah, this is not just an Xbox problem. This is still happening through the industry. Ubisoft ended up is closing 2 studios. And then also with another 380 jobs at risk. But yeah, Winnipeg and Belgrade, so they're closing those. But yeah, just again, they're not making enough money. Ubisoft also lost $1.3 billion in 6 months. That is pretty freaking amazing. Also, too, just a game that not too many heard about. It is on Game Pass, but Luna Abyss. Well, the game basically launched, and then a month later, after the release, they just closed the studio. It's just over. Taking a look at Bungie, well, like Destiny 2 is at its last update, unfortunately, and there's no room for Destiny 3. The signatures are up pretty high. So this is where we're currently at with the signatures. So we're almost at 400,000. We'll probably get there in another week or two. But yeah, momentum is slowing down. So that's where we're at with Bungie. And then Marathon isn't doing well. They just had their free-to-play weekend. I just had my review. If you're interested, listed down below in the description or at the end screen. But yeah, Bungie itself has, soaked up about $400 billion now with the acquisition and the years that they've worked on these 2 games. And it's not looking great. They also had the spinoff of Team LFG, which they're working on Project Gummy Bears, which is some kind of like team-based Fall Guys game, something like that. I don't know. We'll find out more when that actually gets announced. But we also have games coming out like fair games. And so, yeah, we had ultimately, teams of 3 trying to take stuff from the rich. And this is from Haven. And yeah, the last real announcement that we had was March 31st of 2023. And apparently this is still in development. Why? As a live service game? Live service games are not going well in the 2020s. We've had 5 or 6 years of that now. And so, yeah, there's still plenty of trouble going on in the games industry, but right now it's just on Xbox. And it should be, because you can't just keep buying a whole bunch of studios. Maybe they did because they didn't want PlayStation to make a whole bunch of games exclusive. I mean, that's why they bought Bethesda ZeniMax in the first place, was so that they could actually get Starfield. But two, like, my main point is that there's just not enough money in the whole thing to keep everything alive and going. And so the studios that can make games for more cheaply, more efficiently, uh, and two, you can only make things that really sell. But that also makes things pretty repetitive, is that games are kind of all open worlds. They're not doing very well. And they just kind of feel generic, like Star Wars Outlaws, ultimately. And then, two, with the economy being tight for everyone in the world, people are going to find any reason to not buy a game. Let me say that again. They will not buy a game if there's anything they don't like about it. Or two, in a lot of cases, they'll just wait for something that to where it's on sale, because games quickly go on sale anyway. $70 is too high of a price for most of these games. Probably 99%. There are a few games where people will come out and they'll actually buy the game. Okay, Resident Evil Requiem, that's one. Monster Hunter Wilds, that's another one. 007 First Light looks like it's getting pretty good sales numbers, but we'll have to see. But again, $70 is $70. You don't have it, you're not going to spend it. And so, do I think we're done with layoffs? No. I think we're going to continue with layoffs through the 2020s. So maybe in 2030, maybe in 2031, we'll actually stop having layoffs. But again, like with Xbox, your accountability margin, quote unquote, can't be 3%. That's way too low. PlayStation 2 has also had some years where they haven't had super good profit, but they're improving, they're getting better, and that's ultimately what we want to see. But not without also closing studios and having layoffs and canceled games. Also, with Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive has spent billions on GTA 6. Holy frick, it's insane. Embracer Group, take a look at BioWare. Warner Brothers had to be sold. EA is being sold. And yeah, Ubisoft is being supported by Tencent. So yeah, things are not healthy, guys. They're not healthy. With that one, I'll see you guys on the next one.